So how exactly do you get to the Laguna de Guatavita, the ancient lake of El Dorado legends? Hi all, I'm Esrado, and today I've got a real quick one for you to let you know how to get to Guatavita from Bogotá and how to get to the lagoon once you arrive in Guatavita. So I know some of you watching have probably searched around a lot to find a description on the route to the lake, as a lot of the information online is kind of vague and varied. Like, it might tell you the terminal you need to go to, but then when you get to that terminal you can't see any signage for Guatavita buses, and everyone there gives you different info on exactly where you need to wait. So I'm not going to frustrate you anymore. I'm going to tell you exactly where you need to go based on my own experience visiting the lagoon. Okay, so most places online tell you there's a bus that goes to Guatavita from Portal Norte in Bogotá. That might be true, but personally, after asking a bajillion people who work at this station where and when exactly this bus shows up, no one was able to help me. Some people told me it was on platform 8 on one side, others told me it was on the other side, some told me it was in the middle lane, and others told me it didn't stop at this station at all, but instead stops at Terminal Norte, which is a completely different stop. That last claim, however, was not something I saw described anywhere online, so honestly, who knows? Another claim is that there's a bus that goes from Terminal Satellite del Norte, or North Satellite Terminal, which is yet another northern bus terminal / station, in case these similar naming conventions weren't already confusing enough. In fact, it's listed on this official coach website specifically stating that there's a bus that goes from this terminal. When I turned up to this terminal though, I could not see a single counter for this bus company, nor any other bus company that goes to Guatavita. I asked one of the people working here where this bus goes from, and they gave me some vague directions I didn't quite catch, but I assumed she was referring to Portal Norte, as wouldn't you know, that coach website has conflicting info. See, whilst it says that it goes from Terminal Satellite del Norte here, if you go to the map lower down, it has it pinpointed as leaving from Portal Norte. So I went to Portal Norte as well, and I already described how that turned out. Eventually though, an Uber driver I was with found another route, and this one actually worked, so here it is. What you want to do is go to this street in Bogotá here. It's calle 72 on the opposite side of the street to the Universidad Pedagógica Nacional. If you want to quickly find it on Google Maps, just type calle 72, number 1211, and it should show up the exact spot where you want to go across the road from the uni. Specifically, you want to be right outside this Colombia Farmer shop. Now, depending on when you're watching this video, I can't guarantee this shop will still exist. As of October 2023, it's there, but if you're watching this several years from now, I can't make any promises. Still, calle 72, number 1211, that's the address you want to go to, so that should be all you need to know. Now, once you're here, there should be buses that leave for Guatavita around the beginning of every hour, starting from 6 AM up until the late afternoon. If you have any questions, there should be someone here who works for the bus company announcing all the bus arrivals, so you can just ask them and they'll be able to help you out. Bear in mind that there are buses that go to several different towns from here, but there's generally some signage on each bus that states where it's going. If in doubt though, this transport worker that I mentioned before should be able to help you. Once you get on the bus, it's 10,000 pesos to Guatavita, which you'll of course have to pay in cash, although you generally won't have to pay this until you disembark at the town. There are a few stops along the way, such as Huasca, so just make sure you don't get off until you arrive Guatavita. I believe it's the final stop, but not 100% certain, so probably best to check Google Maps to see where you are. Once you're in Guatavita, now you gotta take another bus to get to the lagoon. Once again, I got a lot of conflicting info from residents on where this bus leaves from, I believe because there are several options. What I found easiest though is to go to the town's bus terminal. If you search Transporte en Guatavita on Google Maps, you should find this place here, which is where you want to go. If you're not using maps, just ask a resident to tell you where the bus terminal is, as it's right near there, specifically on the corner of Carrera 7 and Calle 2, right near the Plaza de Toros. Once you're there, you should see a counter for private shuttle bus services. Now, some of you may have read about this online and seen that the prices are very high compared to standard buses, but what a lot of these sites don't tell you is that if you take this shuttle bus with anyone else, the price is split between you all. If you go on the weekend especially, there's a good chance there'll be other people coming on the bus too, so you'll be able to split the fare between them. I believe the total cost is around 80,000 pesos, but if you split the cost between several people, it's obviously going to be a lot less. Anyway, as I was saying, once you find the counter, just ask the person working there if you can get a shuttle bus to Guatavita, and they'll be able to help you from there. The great thing about the shuttle bus is that it goes both ways, and once it comes to pick people up from the lagoon, it won't leave without you since you paid for the round trip up front. Once you reach the lagoon though, you'll have to pay an entry fee. A lot of sites say this is 17,000 pesos for foreigners, but I believe I actually paid a bit over 30,000, so who knows, maybe they've increased their prices, or maybe I just got ripped off. Either way, make sure you bring a good amount of cash to be ready for this, along with some ID, as they do want to see this to make sure if you're a foreigner or not. Even if it's just a photo of your ID on your phone, that worked for me, so that's totally fine. Bear in mind that it's compulsory to have a guide for the majority of the hike, but don't worry, they have guides on site that they assign to groups upon arrival. I believe entry to the lagoon closes at around 4, possibly earlier, so I wouldn't want to arrive much later than 3, although once you've entered, I found that tours can go past 4 up until around 5 even. The hike lasts around an hour and a half to 2 hours, but this is largely due to the fact that the tour guide makes regular stops with the group to talk about history, so the actual amount of walking time is well under an hour, I'd say. Once you get to the lagoon itself, the guide will let you take the rest of the trail yourself, of which has several lookout points onto the lagoon, with the last one being the best. The trail's overall pretty easy, I'd say. It's all very well marked out, so you're not bush bashing anywhere, and as I said, it's not too long and there's plenty of breaks, so you shouldn't have any issues. Really, the only thing I should point out with it is that there's a section of it where you'll be walking down some steep steps made of rocks, which could potentially be a slipping hazard, especially if it's just rain, but there's some railing to help you, so you should be fine. Once the tour is over, you'll just want to make sure to get back to the shuttle bus at the agreed time they organise with you. Thankfully, the trail doesn't loop around, so you won't have to walk back down the stairs, but instead they'll just be an easy downhill trail. The shuttle bus will then take you back to Guatavita, and from Guatavita, you'll be able to get a bus back to Bogotá. To be honest, I can't remember exactly where this bus leaves from, but if you ask around at the bus terminal, I'm sure someone could tell you, and you shouldn't have too much trouble finding it, as the buses back to Bogotá are fairly common. The bus I took went the exact same route as the bus that came to Guatavita, meaning that I alighted at the same 72nd Street of Bogotá that I mentioned earlier, and paid the same 10,000 pesos fare. And that's it. I really hope this helps you with your trip. The lagoon is definitely something worth checking out. Honestly, photos make it look a lot smaller than it actually is in person, and being there in person is just a whole other experience. I think the history of it regarding the Muisca rituals and its association with El Dorado makes it quite a surreal visit, just to know that you're standing next to something that has some very significant ancient history. It's kind of cool. But anyway, thanks for watching all this way. If you have any questions, let me know down below and I'll do my best to help. Otherwise, like, subscribe, bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Ciao!